Learn to depend on yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and fellow travelers on this journey called life, I want to talk to you today about a principle that is fundamental to every soul, to every human being, regardless of age, background, or circumstance. It is a principle that speaks to the core of who we are as individuals, a principle that, when fully understood and embraced, can change the entire trajectory of our lives. That principle is self-reliance, the ability to depend on yourself. Now, when we talk about depending on yourself, I am not suggesting that we abandon relationships, communities, or the people around us who provide support. I am not telling you to walk through life isolated and disconnected from the world. No human beings are created for connection. We are designed to live in community, to help one another, to share in each other's burdens. And this is a crucial. But before you can truly engage in meaningful relationships, before you can be a person of value in the lives of others, you must first be a person of value in your own life. Let me say it another way. Before you can give to others, you must first know how to give to yourself. Before you can depend on others, you must first learn to depend on yourself. The foundation of every successful life, every meaningful endeavor, every deep and lasting relationship is self-reliance. Think about this for a moment. If you're constantly looking outside of yourself for validation, for approval, for strength, for direction, for purpose, you are building your life on a shaky foundation. You are building your house on sand, and when the storms of life come, and they will come, you will find that your house cannot stand. Why? Because it was never grounded in something solid. It was never rooted in something unshakable. It was built on the opinions of others, on the ever-changing winds of external circumstances, on the fleeting approval of the world around you. And let me tell you something about the world. It is fickle. It will praise you one day and tear you down the next. It will lift you up when you conform to its expectations and abandon you when you no longer serve its purposes. So if you are living a life dependent on the world, on people, on circumstances, on external validation, you are living a fragile life. You are living a life at the mercy of forces you cannot control. And that, my friends, is a dangerous way to live. But there is another way. There is a better way. And that way is learning to depend on yourself. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking. You may be asking, how do I depend on myself? What does that even mean? Isn't life meant to be shared with others? Aren't we supposed to lean on each other for support? Yes, life is meant to be shared. Yes, we are designed to help one another. But before you can truly help someone else, you must first know how to help yourself. Before you can lean on someone else, you must first be strong enough to stand on your own. Before you can be a rock for others, you must first be a rock for yourself. Depending on yourself means knowing who you are. It means understanding your strengths and weaknesses. It means cultivating a deep and abiding trust in your own abilities. It means taking full responsibility for your life, your choices, your actions, your outcomes. You see, too often we live in a culture that encourages dependency. We are taught to rely on the government, on institutions, on employers, on friends, on family. And while there is nothing inherently wrong with seeking help when you need it, the danger comes when you begin to rely so heavily on others that you forget how to rely on yourself. Let me tell you something. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to rescue you from your problems. No one is going to live your life for you. You are responsible for your own life. You are responsible for your own success. You are responsible for your own happiness. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you take ownership of your life, the sooner you will begin to unlock the true potential that resides within you. Now, let's talk about the mindset that is required to develop this sense of self-reliance. Because it is not something that comes naturally to everyone. It is not something that we are born with. Self-reliance it is a mindset. It is a way of thinking that must be cultivated over time. The first step in developing self-reliance is to recognize that you are enough. Let me say that again. You are enough. You have within you everything you need to succeed, to thrive, to overcome, to achieve. You do not need to look outside of yourself for the answers, because the answers are already within you. Now, I know this can be a difficult concept to grasp, especially in a world that is constantly telling us that we are not enough. We are bombarded with messages that tell us we need more money, more success, more approval, more recognition. We are told that we are lacking, that we are deficient, that we are incomplete. But that is a lie. That is a deception. You are already whole. You are already complete. You were created with everything you need to fulfill your purpose in life. But in order to tap into that, you must first believe it. You must first recognize that you are enough. Once you begin to internalize this truth, you will start to see the world differently. You will start to see yourself differently. You will no longer feel the need to constantly seek approval from others, because you will know that you already have everything you need. You will no longer feel the need to compare yourself to others, because you will understand that your journey is unique. You will no longer feel the need to depend on others for your sense of self-worth, because you will know that your worth comes from within. The second step in developing self-reliance is to take ownership of your life. This means accepting full responsibility for your actions, your choices, and your outcomes. It means recognizing that no one else is responsible for your success or your failure. You are in control of your life, and the sooner you take ownership of that, the sooner you will begin to see real change. Too often, we fall into the trap of blaming others for our circumstances. We blame our parents, our upbringing, our environment, our boss, our spouses, our government. And while it is true that external factors can influence our lives, they do not control our lives. You have the power to choose how you respond to any situation. You have the power to shape your own destiny. Taking ownership of your life means no longer making excuses. It means no longer wait for someone else to solve your problems. It means no longer looking to others to give you what you need. You have within you the power to create the life you want. But it starts with taking ownership. It starts with recognizing that your life is your responsibility. The third step in developing self-reliance is to cultivate resilience. Life is full of challenges, obstacles, and setbacks. No one is immune to hardship. But the difference between those who succeed and those who fail is not the absence of difficulty, it is the presence of resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity. It is the ability to keep going when everything around you seems to be falling apart. It is the ability to stay focused on your goals even when the path ahead is uncertain. And here's the thing about resilience. It is not something you are born with. It is something you develop through experience. It is something you build over time through the trials and tribulations of life. So how do you cultivate resilience? You cultivate it by embracing challenges, by facing your fears, by stepping outside of your comfort zone. You cultivate it by refusing to give up, by refusing to be defeated, by refusing to let setbacks define you. Every time you face a challenge and overcome it, you are building resilience. Every time you fail and get back up, you are building resilience. Every time you push through adversity, you are building resilience. And the more resilient you become, the more self-reliant you will be. Because here's the truth, no one is going to fight your battles for you. No one is going to endure your hardships for you. You must be strong enough to face the storms of life on your own. You must be resilient enough to keep going even when it seems like the whole world is against you. And let me tell you something, there will be times when it feels like the whole world is against you. There will be times when you feel alone, when you feel like no one understands what you're going through, when you feel like giving up. But in those moments, remember this, you are stronger than you think. You are more capable than you realize. You have within you the power to overcome any obstacle, to rise above any challenge, to succeed in the face of any adversity. But that power can only be unlocked when you learn to depend on yourself. When you stop looking to others for answers and start looking within. When you stop waiting for someone else to solve your problems and start taking ownership of your life. When you stop relying on external circumstances for your happiness and start cultivating a sense of inner peace and resilience. The fourth step in developing self-reliance is to embrace personal growth. Self-reliance is not a destination, it is a journey. It is a continual process of learning, growing, and evolving. It is about becoming the best version of yourself, not for the sake of others, but for the sake of yourself. Too often we fall into the trap of complacency. We become comfortable with where we are, with who we are, with what we have achieved. And while there is nothing wrong with contentment, there's a danger in becoming stagnant. Personal growth is the key to self-reliance because it ensures that you are always moving forward, always striving to become better, always seeking to unlock more of your potential. Personal growth is about challenging yourself to step outside your comfort zone, to take risks, to pursue new opportunities, to learn new skills. You cannot become self-reliant if you are not willing to grow. You cannot become self-reliant if you are not willing to change. You cannot become self-reliant if you are not willing to evolve into the person you were created to be. And let me tell you something about growth. It is not always easy. Growth is uncomfortable. Growth requires sacrifice. Growth requires letting go of old habits, old beliefs, old ways of thinking. Growth requires facing your fears, confronting your insecurities, and challenging limitations. But growth is necessary. Growth is essential. Growth is the only way you can unlock the full potential that resides within you. And when you commit to a life of growth, when you commit to continually evolving into the best version of yourself, you will find that self-reliance comes naturally. Because self-reliance is not about perfection. It is not about having all the answers. It is not about never making mistakes. Self-reliance is about trusting yourself to handle whatever life throws your way. It's about having the confidence to know that no matter what happens, you will be okay. You will find a way. You will make it through. The fifth step in developing self-reliance is to cultivate self-discipline. Self-discipline is the ability to control your actions, your thoughts, and your emotions. It is the ability to stay focused on your goals even when distractions arise. It's self-discipline is the backbone of self-reliance because it is what keeps you on track when external forces try to pull you in different directions. Without discipline, even the best intentions will fall by the wayside. You may have grand dreams, deep desires, and powerful goals, but without the discipline to follow through, those things remain just ideas, just potential. Discipline is what turns potential into reality. Think about a person who wakes up early every day to work on their goals. They may not feel like getting out of bed, but they do it anyway because they are disciplined. They understand that success is not about doing what's easy, but about doing what's necessary. Discipline isn't a feeling, it's a commitment. It's about doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. The reason many people struggle with self-reliance is because they lack discipline. They rely on motivation, on inspiration, on the fleeting excitement of a new idea or a fresh goal. But motivation is temporary. It comes and goes like the wind. Discipline, however, is steadfast. It doesn't depend on how you feel at the moment. It doesn't waver when things get tough. Discipline remains steady even in the face of difficulty. Self-discipline also means mastering your emotions. So often, we allow our emotions to dictate our actions. We allow fear to hold us back, doubt to cloud our judgment, or anger to drive us to make rash decisions. But when you are disciplined, you are in control of your emotions. You acknowledge them, but you don't allow them to dictate your actions. For example, when you feel fear, discipline allows you to move forward anyway. When you feel doubt, discipline helps you stay the course. When you feel anger, discipline gives you the ability to pause, reflect, and respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. Self-discipline is about mastering yourself. And when you have mastery over yourself, you are no longer at the mercy of your emotions, your circumstances, or the opinions of others. You are in control of your destiny. The next step in self-reliance is learning to trust your instincts and intuition. Each of us has an inner voice, a gut feeling, an intuitive sense that often guides us in life. Yet, too many people ignore this voice, allowing external opinions to drown out their own inner wisdom. Learning to trust your own judgment is key to self-reliance. You know more than you think you do. Your life experiences, your observations, your failures, and your successes have equipped you with knowledge and wisdom. But so many of us look outside for validation. We second guess ourselves. We seek approval from others before making decisions, as if someone else knows better what's right for our life than we do. But I'm here to tell you that no one knows you better than you know yourself. No one has walked in your shoes. No one has experienced life from your perspective. Therefore, no one else can tell you what's right for you. You have to trust yourself. You have to learn to listen to that inner voice, that gut feeling that tells you when something is right or wrong. This doesn't mean you ignore advice from others. It's wise to seek counsel, to learn from the experiences and perspectives of others. But at the end of the day, the decision is yours to make. You must trust yourself enough to know that you are capable of making the right choices for your life. Trusting yourself also means being willing to make mistakes. Sometimes, people fear making decisions because they are afraid of being wrong. But self-reliance isn't about being perfect. It's about being willing to take risks, to make mistakes, and to learn from those mistakes. Every failure is an opportunity to grow. Every wrong turn is a chance to recalibrate and find a better path. You see, failure is not the opposite of success, it's a part of success. Every successful person has failed multiple times. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not the absence of failure, but the willingness to learn from failure. When you depend on yourself, you understand that failure is not something to be feared. It is something to be embraced. It is a teacher, a guide, a stepping stone on the path to success. Another important aspect of self-reliance is self-awareness. You cannot depend on yourself if you don't know yourself. Self-awareness is about understanding your strengths, your weaknesses, your values, your motivations, and your triggers. It's about being honest with yourself about who you are and where you need to grow. That too often people live their lives unaware of their own patterns of behavior. They go through life reacting to situations without ever stopping to ask, why am I reacting this way? They make the same mistakes over and over again without taking the time to reflect on what they can learn from those mistakes. But self-awareness is the key to breaking those patterns. It's the key to growth, to transformation, and to become the person you were meant to be. When you are self-aware, you can see yourself objectively. You can recognize your blind spots and take steps to address them. You can acknowledge your strengths and build on them. You can understand your weaknesses and work to improve them. Self-awareness also means being honest with yourself about what you want in life. So many people live their lives trying to fulfill the expectations of others' parents, society, culture, without ever stopping to ask themselves, what do I really want? But when you are self-aware, you are in tune with your own desires, your own goals, your own purpose. You are no longer living someone else's life. You are living your own